You excited?
Yes.
It's weird, right?
Not really.
Yeah.
I've done so many weird things with you.
Yeah, you married me.
Yeah. That was weird. What was I thinking? I'm just kidding. I love you.
I love you too. I think the gain on this. Okay. Okay, so there's a microphone on this side and a microphone on this side. So you can just talk straight into it.
Okay.
And should get good volume. I could turn up the volume right now.
Whoa.
Yeah, and you can hear it more. Now you hear it less.
Can you hear me, Garrett?
Yes, I can hear you.
ASMR. Too loud for ASMR. Stop laughing at me.
All right. This is this is a professional podcast. We're going to do a real podcast this time. We're recording, right? Yeah,
Oh, I don't know.
we're recording.
Are we?
yeah, we're recording. So this is our podcast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's our podcast called?
I think we agreed on the title Just Got Home because I just got home from work.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, a couple times a week I get home from work earlier than you.
Yeah.
And we always have interesting conversations.
Yeah, because I work later, so it's later now. Like, most people are, like, getting ready for bed, and we're, like, doing a podcast. Because we're those people.
Yeah, there are a few types of people, and I think one of those types of people is podcast people.
What are podcast people?
I don't know.
Are those the people who, like, when they go to the movie theaters, and they, like when they're trying to talk to them, they lean forward and they go, well, let me just tell you a little about my stroll here. And they're like, wait a second. Not that kind of a speaker. I don't know. But anyway,
so I'm Garrett.
I'm Jessie.
And we are newlyweds.
We are.
Currently, at the moment. We toyed around calling this the Newlyweds Podcast.
Yeah, but I wasn't a huge fan of that. So.
Yeah, it didn't seem very original. And she's like, well, we're not going to be newlyweds in 2 years.
I want to do this for a while, you know? I don't want to put a label, like, on it, you know? But, yeah, we've been married for a little over 2 months now. Has it been 2 months? It's over 2 months.
Yeah, we got married October 6th. What is today? Today is the
17th.
December 17th.
Yeah, we got married October 6th, 2019.
Yep.
Now the decade's ending, and I didn't realize that I got married before the decade, and I never would have thought when this decade started I'd be married before the end of it. But
yeah. Tell them how old you are.
I'm 22.
I am 22 as well.
Whoa. But you know what? I'm older than him.
By like a month.
Yeah, like a month and a half. But yeah, I feel cool. It makes me feel good.
You will always be a cougar, Jessie.
Thanks for reminding me. Oh my gosh. I love you.
I love you too. So we met each other working at a movie theater.
We did.
Yeah, we both worked at a movie theater in high school. And towards the end of our senior year, we started working together towards the beginning of our senior year.
Of senior in high school, yeah.
In high school, yeah. And
I started there like a month or two before you.
Yeah, and then we went to the same college for a while. And, I mean, we started dating about a year after we met.
Just about. A little less.
Yeah, we were best friends for a year, and that's why we started dating. I wanted to...
But I had a boyfriend.
Yeah, that was a weird situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll save that story for a different time.
Yeah, I feel like that could be a different story.
Yeah.
For another day.
But then I convinced her to start dating me. And
Instead of the other guy.
yeah. And then after a couple years we got engaged, and then after about a year of engagement we got married.
Yeah. now we're here doing a podcast because he didn't want to do it earlier because he wasn't sure if I was going to be there. I love you.
Love you too. Anyway, you're gonna hear that a lot. This is the way we normally talk. We always say "I love you" just as filler instead of saying
Well, I feel like we say "I love you" when the other person says something funny, and you just get reminded that you love the other person. You know, like, oh, that's the reason why I love you. I love this person. They're great. You know.
Yeah, I think that's mostly you.
Is it?
Yeah.
Then do you just say "I love you" back because I say it to you? Garrett?
If there was a Venn diagram of all of the times you've said I love you and the times I said I love you, most of them, you initiate it all the time though.
No, not all the time. Sometimes you initiate it.
Maybe.
I feel like it's probably like maybe 70% me, 30% you.
Yeah, maybe.
Like as far as initiation of who says it first.
You lean in closer to the mic. I'm hearing more of me and less of you.
Never. Yeah, lean in.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I said, I just got home and I'm tired. So I want to lean in my chair. I'm lazy. Anyway.
Well, I can hear you better now.
Good. So, we actually want to talk about something else because I found something interesting online that's not, too crazy, and you were actually somewhat interested. Not like political, like I didn't find a scandal online. Like it's not that crazy of a thing I found online. You know what I mean?
What did you find online?
I found a house. It sounds so lame when I say it like that. Like, you
built it up quite a bit.
There's so many of those.
They're impeaching the president of the United States right now.
That's why it's like not too interesting. Like it wasn't a scandal. It wasn't political. It was just. I was looking at houses and I found a couple, and every once in a while I send him to Garrett to see if he's interested, and he actually said he was interested in one. I was like, oh my gosh, this has never happened before. This is a good day.
Well, don't get too excited.
Hey, let me be excited. Anyway, I wanted to ask you what you thought of the house I sent you.
So you sent me 3 houses. You always send them in batches. You never send one. Today you sent me 3.
Well,
last time you sent me like 5.
I think it's because I find a really good one and I'm like, oh, that's a good one. And I'm like, well, I don't want him to just be stuck on that one. And I find a couple other ones afterwards and I'll send him those, even though I'm constantly looking. But yeah, you said you liked the first one of the batch I sent you today, and that got me really excited.
So the other 2, I don't know why you picked the other 2. They were so expensive.
I can't remember what they were.
They were like $300,000 and $400,000.
I think I was thinking like future. Like in the future, like what about like a house like this? Because like I'm trying to not only find houses, but I'm trying to also find houses that you would actually be interested in, like see which ones you like, so I know which ones to look for later. Yeah, I don't want to waste my time looking at houses that I like, and you're like, oh my gosh, I hate split levels, So.
I don't think about it that hard. I've never thought about getting a house that hard.
You know what? I do. I want a house. I want a house so I can have a dog.
That's the only reason you want a house. You want a dog?
I want a house because I don't want to feel like I have to limit myself on the things I get. Like objects in our home, so I can have a house and know we're gonna be there for hours. Like, hey, I want to get a table that fits right there, and stays there for like 10 years, and not feel like I have to get furniture that's very simple, that's small all the time. So in case we move.
That's true. Actually, we just had your siblings over for dinner last night. You have 2 older sisters who are both married.
Yes.
And one of them has 3 kids.
3 kids.
3 young kids.
Under 5.
3 young kids under 5. And we had them all over. So it was, 9 people? If you count the kids as whole people?
Including us, yes. Yeah, that's 9 people, yeah. That's the most we've ever had over. And it was a little tight. But you know what? It still worked. It worked. We just liked entertaining. And, I thought, might as well get a house that's big enough to entertain, make it nice, have people over more,
But I'm betting that was why it was on your mind, getting a house, because we just had dinner last night with your siblings, and it was so cramped.
It wasn't too cramped. It was fine. But, like, with 6 grown adults in a small apartment, And, like, we have our apartment well occupied. Like, I didn't want it to look like a bum. If that makes sense. Like, I didn't want to look like, oh, we have a cardboard box as our TV stand. Like, our house is, I think, nice and full and not, like, overflowing with stuff. But it looks like a little home, you know?
It's very full. So there are a couple of reasons that I'm finding that you want a house. Number one, a dog.
I like dogs.
Which is fair. I want a dog too.
And you travel a lot, so I just want a dog to have when you're gone, you know?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Number two, because you like getting stuff. And you want more space to put stuff.
No, it's not that I like getting stuff and having more stuff. I just don't want to look like nobody lives there and nobody cares. Like, we have a couch and a love seat. You know, like, I feel like that's not too much to ask, you know? If
you guys could see how much space that takes up, though, like, the amount of space that is actually, the love seat and the couch are actually in, it's not a lot of space. Like, we almost don't have enough room for
That's as big as my parents' living room.
No.
Like,
that is half the size.
No, not the living
Less
room.
than half the size.
Hey, chill, man, chill. It's not the space of the room I'm talking about. It's the amount of space the couches take up. They take up the same amount of space, if not more space, than in my parents' living room. You know what I'm saying?
No way.
The way how they're spaced apart.
No.
Yeah.
No, there's no way. No, there's barely any room over there. Okay, the point is, we need a house because Jesse wants more stuff.
No, that's not true. I just want a house because I don't want to feel like when I do get things that I have to be careful to get only small things and movable things. Like, we live upstairs, so it's hard to get things upstairs, you know, all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be able to have a house and be able to get, like, built-in shelves, you know, that can house all of our movies and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I want, like, a nice house where, like, we can settle and stay for a long time, and I don't feel like I constantly have to, like, be weary that I can't get this because we might have to sell it because it won't fit in our next apartment or when we move, or it won't fit in the current one, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I just want nice things. Like, and not that many things. I just want nice things I know I can keep there for a long time, you know?
Yeah.
And not have to feel like I have to replace them or, you know, worry about getting other ones.
That was a big reality check when I first moved out for me, because I first moved into my first apartment and I realized there's not a lot of room. Like, you really need to be careful what you get, and you need to make sure that you like what you get because it takes up space and you only have so much space until you start to become a hoarder.
Yeah.
And you start to look like you're a hoarder.
Yeah,
and
you gotta be careful on what you get, and I don't want to feel like I have to be careful on, like, getting a few things. Like, oh, I really like, you know, like, this picture frame for this one photo that we have, but, like, we can't hang up too many photos in this small place. Like, or, like, we like movies, so we have lots of movie posters, you know, like, we have a lot of them. I'd like to have some more around, you know?
Yeah.
There's not enough walls to put up enough, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't want to also overflow it, you know?
But anyway, so you were looking at these houses, and you sent them over to me, and I am working at the time, and suddenly my phone starts buzzing on my desk in my quiet office.
I did send them pretty quickly, one after another. I was like, oh, that one.
Yeah, she tends to do that.
Sorry.
No, but
No, sorry.
So I looked at the first one. The first one was more of a reasonable price for us. I mean, at some point, it's like it was $200,000, I think, and then the estimated.
Should we say where we live so they get, like, an idea?
We live in the kind of the
Central
central
Ohio.
Ohio area, north central Ohio. So a lot of farming country, a lot of ranch style houses. And the first one that you sent me was kind of a ranch almost. It was 9 acres.
Do you know what it means for a ranch style house?
I don't know.
That means it's one story, man. This is a 2-story house. I think that's what ranch style house means. I think just because it's on a ranch, it doesn't mean it's a ranch.
It is on a ranch, though. It looked like there was a lot of farm building on the property.
I think there was farmland next to it, but I have a lot of ideas of what we could do with that space. And like the house, I think since it's in the farm area, it probably doesn't have like an HOA, so we could like add on to it and, you know, really make it our own, you know?
Yeah.
Without the worry of suburbs. Also, I just don't like suburban houses because I feel like they're way too close to each other. Like after living in a couple my whole life, like I feel weird, like I can't play music outside, I can't like run tools, and like I hear like the neighbors come home every night, and I just I like having parties and stuff, and I like to be able to have music outside, and you know, we don't have rager parties, but like a nice social gathering with some music playing, or like a bonfire that's after 11 p.m.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. No, the first thing that I looked at when you sent that to me, because that was, all things considered, that one was my favorite one, because that first one, because it has 9 acres.
That's what I saw. I was like, oh my gosh, that price for 9 acres?
Yeah.
That's how I was like, we could do a lot with that.
Yeah, we could. I want to get a mound of dirt, set up a shooting range. Like, that was my first thought.
That was one of my ideas. That's why I was like, Garrett would love this.
Yeah.
There's so much you could do with that much space. That's why, for that amount of price, like, oh my gosh, we could even, if we wanted to, like, sell some of it, you know, and make a profit off of it.
So my dad did that on it wasn't my parents' first house. I think it was their second or third house. They had a lot of land. I think they had like 20 acres. It was a lot. Wow. But it was a ranch style house. It was a 1-story, very small house, and he cut the back half of the property in half as he was putting it onto the market, and the buyer didn't realize that back half wasn't included, and he was like, oh yeah, that was separate. And so he sold it to him separately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, every time my dad tells me that story, I'm like, Dad? Shrewd.
Well, you know what else I thought we could do? So I looked, and it doesn't have a garage. Did you notice that?
Yeah, it looked like it was almost just like a box.
It was like a box, but I'm like, that could be like a good center for something we could add on to. Like, we could add a front porch. We could add like an additional part of the house in the back or on the side, and we could add like a garage, whether it's attached or separate, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there were 3 bedrooms.
Yeah, it was 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms,
and it looked like there was a loft too.
I think so. I can't remember. I actually, when I went to work tonight, so when it's slow at work, we're allowed to just browse the computer as long as we're not playing anything with sound. And so I was looking at houses at work tonight, and so I looked at so many, I kind of don't really remember, but that one looked like I did look at that one a lot, because you said you liked that one. I was like, oh my gosh. And I just kept looking at it, and then I was like looking at some other ones, and like, oh, maybe like this one, because like just in the fact that in your mind you're like, you showed even any interest, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just gotta reel it in, just gotta hold on to it.
So here's the big problem. Here's the big problem with that house. It's in Ashley.
I know.
I don't know where that is. I know that's not near here, though.
Actually, I looked it up, and do you know where Lucas's house is in the Hernings?
Yeah.
It's like twice that length away from here to there. Like from here to Lucas's house, like
it's
that
in
same
that
drive.
direction?
Yeah. It's like, it's an in between, I don't want to say exactly because we're doing a podcast, but you know, like, it's like in the north east. I had to think of a compass for a second. It's in like the northeast direction, and I think so like for example, I have a 2-minute drive to work right now. It would be like a 15-minute drive for me to work. So like not too much, but like it's a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I have a coworker who works in Marion, and she drives all the way to the Orange Branch every day for work.
Wow. That's a drive.
That's even further.
That is a drive.
That's even further from if we moved to that place. Like that's like, not only is it further away from Ashley from here, it's also further from where we currently live down south, you know? Yeah. That's a drive. It was funny because she literally moved there and then she got the job there. So I'm like, I feel like she probably wouldn't have moved farther away if she knew she was working even farther away later, but she didn't know, so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but you can get good deals on land up in Marion right now. Marion's got some problems,
Yeah.
and I think that's probably why it's so cheap.
That's why it was cheap. I think that's why she got it, because it was cheap, and it's there's not much going on, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, that's why it's cheaper. It's not like Delaware, where it's closer to... Oh, I just said Delaware. It's not like Delaware, where it's closer to Columbus, you know?
Yeah.
Or, like, Dublin, where it's closer, like, it's more expensive as you get closer to the city area, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, that's why Delaware is a really hot area right now, because it's really close to the city. Mm-hmm. All things considered, it's like a 45-minute drive to Columbus. Mm-hmm. But it's at the point where it's less expensive because it's north of Dublin. Mm-hmm. It's north of Powell.
Yeah, Delaware is really nice because it's got, like, a city, but it's also not, like, in the city, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a nice small
But
town
you can
feel.
get to the city
Easily. That's why
very
so
easily.
many people live here. Like, so many people who work in Columbus live in Delaware and just drive every day,
Yeah.
you know? Because it's cheaper taxes and it's just, you know... I don't know.
Yeah.
But, I'm sorry, we're getting a little off topic. What else did you like about the house?
So it looked like there wasn't, like, a lot of immediate work to do on it.
That's what I was thinking. Like, the bathrooms were pretty nice.
Like, it looked like all the
Like-
appliances were new.
All the appliances were new. The bathrooms were, like, nice and updated. Like, you know, unlike Lucas' house. By the way, we've mentioned Lucas. Lucas is Garrett's brother,
Yeah.
who's younger than us.
Yeah, he's 20, and he just bought his own house.
He bought a house. He bought, like, a 3-bedroom
Something
house,
like that.
But it's, like, stuck in the 70s, so he's gonna flip it, fix it up and flip it.
Yeah, it had been built by the previous owner.
Yeah, like, it's only ever been owned by one other person.
Yeah, and it was built by them in the 70s. Like, it wasn't built by a company. It was built by the people
Yeah.
who lived in it, which is super cool. They lived in the basement for a while of the house as they were building it. And so the basement's super well built.
Yeah.
And big.
Yeah.
And big and tall.
Like, oh my gosh, when Lucas is done with that house, I have full confidence that it's gonna look really, really nice.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna take him a while because it's
yeah.
just him, but, like, it's gonna look really nice when he's done. You know, and, like, that house that I showed you didn't have nearly as much work as Lucas's house.
Oh, no.
Like,
No.
I'm pretty sure I looked up old photos, and I'm pretty sure whoever lived there before fixed it up as they lived there too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it seems like a
because I'm a
fixer-upper.
stalker and I looked up old photos of it. Like, oh, it looks so different. They must have flipped it, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, they didn't completely flip it, but they, like, made it nicer than it was before.
Yeah.
And I just think it looks really promising. It looks like it has a lot of potential to be, like, you said you wanted to add on to a house, and I'm like, well, that'd be a good way to add on because it's a box, you know?
Yeah.
You could literally go in almost any direction.
Yeah, I was looking at the pictures of this house, and I mean, it's a box. I mean, you could add to any side of it, and it's just a box in the middle of 9 acres.
Yeah, like, you could even, like, we could even live there for, like, years and years and years, and even eventually make, like, a teen suite or a mother-in-law suite down the road, and, like, or even, like, just more, like, extra storage for, like, a game room or something, you know? Like, we could make space with that easily, especially since it doesn't have an HOA. There's no one restricting us on what we can do with it, you know? Mm-hmm. And, like, my big thing is I'd really love to add a porch if we could, of some kind, because I love porches.
Do you know what I want to add?
What?
Swimming pool. Olympic size
Okay.
swimming pool.
Maybe not Olympic size, but, like, since it's 9 acres, we could put in a swimming pool, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that could be a project in the future to do. Like, we could make that property so nice, you know what I mean? Since it's 9 acres.
Yeah, and we could wall it off,
Yeah.
like, with, like, 6-foot concrete
course.
walls and
Yeah.
turn it into a compound and start a
Yeah.
cult.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Let's not do that. Oh my gosh, no. But I don't know. I mostly liked it because it had a lot of space. It had not that much work you need to do on it in the first place if you just wanted to live there regularly. And it wasn't, like, too expensive, and it wasn't super bad looking. Like, it looked pretty good, you know?
Yeah.
All the fixes were done fairly well from what I could see, and, like, the kitchen was a nice size, and, like, I feel like that would be really good for us for like the future and just, I mean, like we like having parties, like if relatives want to come into town and stay the night in a spare bedroom, that we could do that, like we could have that happen, like if Jonah ever wanted to come back again, this is Garrett's other brother was going away to college soon, like if he just ever wanted to come back into town for a little bit, but he didn't want to go all the way to your parents' house, which is probably like another 30-minute drive, he could just stop right there and then drive. I don't know,
that can be fun. What are your thoughts on getting an actual fixer-upper?
I wouldn't mind it. The only thing is that right now you travel a lot, so I would be there home alone a lot, and like personally I wouldn't trust myself to do all of the construction. Like I'd probably want to hire some people or have like your brothers or my brother-in-laws like come out and help fix it, but they're still fixing their own houses, so I don't know how likely that is that they just come help us for free,
Something you guys should know about Jessie is super handy.
Yes.
Like that was her designated job.
Brag.
She was the handyman of the theater
That's
at.
actually what they called me. They called me the handyman because like if there was ever a problem or a weird situation, something needed to get fixed, they would just come to me. One time, our boss came to me to try to fix our security system because that broke, and I was like, "Girl, you need to call a professional. I'm 19. I'm still in high school. Like, I just graduated high school. I don't know." I literally tried to look at it, and I couldn't even figure out how to get the box off. Like, there was no screws or any... I was like, I don't even know how this thing's on here. Like, I was like, she actually had other people try, like, that I went to high school with, that were, like, younger or older than me, just to let... And like, they're like, "Tracy, you need to call someone," and... Oh my gosh, and then after a while, our accountant's like, "Girl, you need to get a professional to come look at it," and she did, and I got it fixed properly. But little things I could handle, like things that just need to be fixed, things that were broken, things that were like going wrong or haywire. I don't know.
We better be careful what we say. We don't want to out our friends.
Why don't we just blur people's names?
Yeah, maybe we'll just go beep every time there's somebody's name.
Well, then we'll probably just bleep out her name then. I only said it once. I was good. I said, this is going to be difficult. Yeah. We could never do a live show.
No.
Maybe someday.
After some practice, maybe someday.
Yeah.
We need to get some cans because I can't tell like what's me and what I'm hearing from you from my ears and what's actually coming through like the earbuds.
Oh yeah, I know what you're saying. Like you can't tell if it's me just talking normally or if you can actually hear it through the microphone.
Yeah. Like if I was to turn down the sound completely, I can't. And when you talk, I mean,
can you still hear me?
Yes, I can still hear you very clearly. And I can't really distinguish when I hear it from the microphone.
Well, Christmas is coming on. Christmas is coming.
Yeah, we should get some professional level cans.
You could probably ask your mom for some. Like, "Hey, Mom, guess what I want for Christmas?" I need to still get your mom's present. Well, we're kind of doing a couple of things for your mom.
Yeah.
For Christmas.
Oh, shoot. We gotta order that thing for my mom.
We just gotta make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't post this before Christmas, can we? We still could.
We still could. I feel like we should wait.
But
is she gonna listen to it though?
Yeah, that's the question.
Why don't we just not tell her about it until after Christmas?
Yeah. Anyone who's listening, do not tell my mother about this podcast until after Christmas.
Like we said, it's December 17th, so I don't think that'll be too much of a problem.
Yeah, hopefully she can stay ignorant for how many days until Christmas? 8 days?
Let me check my Lego advent calendar. 1, 2.
You can't see it over here, but Jessie has a Lego advent calendar.
Mine says 8 days till the 24th, so
it's just like 25th. This box that's sitting on this way too small for it table.
We have a small apartment, okay? And I really always wanted a Lego advent calendar, and I'm an adult, so I can have what I want, okay? And I like it. It'll be reusable, okay? Don't judge me. Anyway.
You're really gonna reuse the Lego advent calendar?
Yeah, they're Legos. You reuse them. It's not like chocolates where you have to rebuy one and there's a new chocolate every year. You can just take them apart and put them back in, and I won't remember what they were in next year. You know?
All right.
It worked out in handy when the kids came over to play last night, though.
Oh man, it's past 10. I didn't even realize what time it was. We've been doing this for a half hour already.
Whoa.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Podcasting
How long do you want to keep
weird.
this?
I don't know.
I feel like we should keep it around a certain time. Like, it can go different lengths, but, like, we should probably keep it around a certain time.
Well, usually the podcasts that I listen to go for like an hour.
An hour? That's what
sometimes longer, but they're like an hour at minimum.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what mine are, too. The ones I listen to. The one I listen to.
Maybe this podcast will teach you to talk.
Maybe. Oh my gosh. So, my sisters get on me all the time about how I pronounce some words. Like,
I do too.
like, what's a good one? What's one I say?
Picture.
Pick. Picture. Oh my gosh, you know what's so funny? Okay, so...
She's trying to say picture? But she's saying picture.
Yeah, I say picture when I mean a picture. But you know what's really funny is sometimes I'll say picture when I mean pitcher. Like when I was talking to your mom about a water pitcher, I said, hey, can you hand me that picture? And I just like... She just looked at me and started laughing, and I just looked down in defeat, and... That's one that gets on me. But you know what's one that bothers my sisters, I think, is breakfast.
What do you say?
I say
breakfast.
Like, breakfast. I think I say breakfast instead of breakfast or whatever. Breakfast. Breakfast. But anyway, yeah, and I think they also they get on me about saying the word with. Yeah, I say whiff with like an F.
You say whiff a lot, and it's like a 5-year-old.
And Francis was like, "How did you get through speech therapy? Like, how did they not make you go to that?" And I was like, "I tested twice, and they said I didn't need to be there, so I didn't know." Be there.
You tested to go to speech therapy?
So Garrett was homeschooled, and I was in public school the whole time. You were homeschooled the whole time. I was in public school the whole time, and the whole time. You did have 2 years.
Second and third grade, I was in school because my family was moving around and my mom didn't want to deal with it.
I was in public school the whole time, and they just had some programs for people, like kids. Like they had programs for smart kids, they had programs for kids who had a hard time learning, and they had a program for people who had like speech problems. That like during like the silent reading period, you would go once or twice a week to like speech therapy or whatever. Like. And I guess they help people talk better. Like, it was interesting because they even had a lot of smart kids go to that, too. Like, everyone has a hard time talking sometimes, okay? And so, I don't know. I had to go to the people who had a hard time reading sometimes for a little bit of my early education.
Which is ironic because Jessie is obsessed with books.
I love reading now. I used to hate reading.
Yeah.
I love books so much. Like, oh, man, like, book recommendations, please. I will seriously read just about anything. Just not erotica. I just...
Really? You don't want to get into erotica?
I feel like there's so many ones out there, and it's like Hallmark movies. Like, they're all the same. You know, like, if a book has something in it, like, I don't mind. But if it's, like, that's its genre, I'm, like, not as interested, you know? Because then I know what's gonna happen. It's not as much of a surprise, you know? Like, I like to not know it. Like, sometimes I don't read the whole synopsis of a book. Like, sometimes I'll just read the first sentence. If it intrigues me, I'll read it. And I've, like, apparently there's been a lot of people who said that, like, they won't watch movie trailers or they won't, like, read the backs of books, and they'll, like, just read like one sentence or just hear someone say this is what it's about, and they'll just go see it or go watch it.
Yes. So we know a lot of people that are like that. For me, I'm on the other side of it because I think writing a synopsis and making a movie trailer, because you mentioned those, I think those are art forms in and of themselves.
They are art forms, but like,
and I find those super fascinating. Like, I love reading synopsises and I love watching movie trailers.
Yeah, but sometimes a synopsis can turn me away from a book that I might have liked. Like, I've read books And then I've read the synopsis, and I was like, I would not have read this if I read the whole synopsis.
Yeah.
And I ended up liking the book. You
Yeah,
know?
it's like there's good movie trailers and there's bad movie trailers.
Exactly.
There's some movie trailers that ruin the whole movie.
And there's like, I heard a lot of the times for authors, they don't get to pick what their synopsis is. Like, they don't write.
It's the same with directors in movies.
Like, a trailer could make or break if people are gonna go see it. Like the marketing and the promotioning. Oh my gosh, that's a whole other rabbit hole. Like,
yeah.
But like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. How did we get here? What were we talking about? Books?
Erotica.
Oh, erotica.
Come on, you wouldn't even read like one, like, if I just want to understand the genre. Like, say you're not into horror, but you want to watch like a horror movie to get you to understand horror.
I feel like you can't understand all of horror though by just watching one horror movie, you know?
You think?
What if it's a bad movie?
Well, I mean, that's why you pick the best one. Like, if you said you had to watch one horror movie to understand kind of the horror genre, what would you watch?
Interesting.
I mean, the one that comes to mind for me is The Shining.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But, you know, horror is considered a lot of the times as, like, movies that are more, like, cheeky and stuff. And The Shining's not a good example of that because it's so well made.
Well, yeah, there's different subgenres of horror, but if you want to see peak horror...
Peak horror. Like...
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't want to always see, like, the best thing out there and call it a day, you know? I want to experience, like, more of it. That's, like... I don't know. It's kind of like... only meeting one person in a group of people that talks the most, and the person that's quiet's got an interesting story.
So you would read multiple erotica?
That's the only genre I wouldn't read, so no.
You wouldn't even read one?
I'd probably maybe read one, but I don't think I would enjoy myself. Like, I don't know. I like to read things that take me out of reality, and... that's just way too beyond some realities, okay? Like...
I just imagine you... Do you remember that episode of Friends when Joey discovers Rachel's erotic book?
Yeah, vaguely.
That's what I'm imagining.
I don't know. Well, like, you know what? Oh, what is it? I think there's an episode of Friends where Joey and Rachel actually trade their favorite book. Because, like... Joey really likes The Shining, and he's read it a bunch of times. I think that was the book it was. And Rachel really likes Little Women, and she's read it a bunch of times, so they traded. And she was reading it, and she'd never, like, seen the movie or anything. And, like, he was reading Little Women, he's never heard anything. And, like, Joey was crying. Like, it was a book he never would have picked up, but it really touched him emotionally, you know?
Yeah.
And, I don't know, I just feel like there's lots of things out there that you would have never thought of, and, you know?
Sometimes I'm weirded out by the stuff you pick up on your own.
Me?
Yeah.
Like, personally?
Yes, I'm looking
like
at... There's a book... I'm looking at the bookshelf over there right now, and the biggest book I see over there is Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged.
Yeah. It was $3 at half price.
Why would you read that? Why would you pick that up? Of all things.
Because it was $3 at half price.
Do you know what Atlas Shrugged is about?
No. It was on the clearance shelf.
So Atlas Shrugged.
I feel like you've told me, and I was like, oh, that sounds kind of interesting. If it's cheap, I'll get it.
Yeah,
you know?
so I get into political philosophy. Like, I've read Marx, I have read Ayn Rand.
Garrett reads a lot more nonfiction and political books, and I read a lot more fiction books.
Yeah, it's just I go through a lot of phases of the stuff I'm interested in. I get interested in a lot of things, and right now,
I do like,
especially recently, Atlas Shrugged is a novel about. So Ayn Rand was from Russia. And she saw the fall of the Soviet Union because of communism. And she had this very strong philosophy called objectivism. Or is it objectivism? It's kind of like a utilitarian philosophy for life, not just for like capitalism. She is a big proponent of capitalism. But she had this view called objectivism that basically says you only do the things that you do if they benefit you or are a net benefit to you or at least not a net loss to you. So, for example, if you're running late and it will hurt you if you wait and if you take the time to open a door for somebody, it is morally wrong for you to open the door for somebody.
Interesting. That's what she believes.
Yeah. So that's what the hype.
It's kind of like every man for itself.
Sort of. So it's not like It's not like kind of like a cutthroat every man for himself thing necessarily, because when you do good to somebody else, she believes in her philosophy that if you do good to somebody else, that also benefits you. Because you feel good when you do stuff for other people, but you shouldn't do like good stuff to people if it is a detriment to you, if it's a net detriment to you.
That is so interesting.
So, for example, if you have the time and somebody and you can hold,
but you didn't have the time though.
But if you do have time to open up the door for somebody, and you do, suddenly you've gained some happiness for yourself, and you have helped another person, and they have positive feelings towards you. So that's a benefit for you. But that benefit is not outweighed if you're super late to an important presentation or something.
Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like most people do that anyway. You know, like, I feel like if I'm even driving to work and I'm running a little late, I'll drive faster. But if I'm like just going home and I don't really have anything I need to be doing, I'll let people like cut in front of me. I'll wave people in if they're turning out of something. I feel like people already kind of do that. Yeah,
but the thing about Ayn Rand is she's like an atheist, and so she believes that that's morality. It is morally right to seek your own good. And that's the way that you should live your life. Like, the greatest moral good is living for yourself. Which it's kind of off-putting, but like you said, there's a little bit of, like, we kind of do that already.
Isn't that weird?
But getting back to Atlas Shrugged, her book. So Atlas Shrugged is about, it's kind of a mystery book. It follows this female protagonist. I think her name is Dagny. She's got a weird name. And she lives in this world where the government's taking more control over stuff, kind of like the beginnings of the Soviet Union and communism and stuff. And what starts happening is, as the government starts taking more power, the smartest people in the world start to disappear. Like, just disappear without a trace, except... And these are artists. These are the best artists. These are the best musicians. These are the best inventors, the best writers from all around the world. All of the best creative people in all sorts of areas just start disappearing.
Okay.
And every time they disappear, they leave behind a message, and the message is, "Who is John Galt?" It's like usually like written on a card or something.
How do you know so much about this book?
Because they made 3 crappy movies about him, and I saw a couple of them.
You actually watched those?
I watched the second one and then like half of the third one, but the third one has like a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow. And we should watch all of them one day and talk about them.
Yeah, we should. But they're really crappy.
Exactly.
They're really crappy, and the book is trying to demonstrate a philosophy, and
I was gonna say,
so it works
very philosophical.
It works better as a book than as a movie. But there's some really interesting stuff in it. But it's very like near future type stuff, and there's a lot more going on that I'm actually talking about. Like, there's a lot more plot to it.
So why is it weird that I have it?
Because it's a very philosophically driven book. Like, everybody knows. So
can I not have philosophically driven books, Garrett?
You usually don't.
You don't know me.
You like classics and pulp fiction, not the film, but like the genre, like pulpy fiction.
Well, I like everything. I mean, I have lots of like books about art, and I have books about architecture.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
I shouldn't box you in.
Yeah, I mean, like, I love, actually, you may not know this, but I actually do love learning about different people's philosophies and stuff. Like, when I was in school and we learned about all the philosophers, it's like, I don't believe every single thing, but it's still interesting to learn about. I just like learning, you know? It's just fun to learn about, you know?
But you won't give a chance to erotica.
No. Because it's predictable, and...
How do you know? You haven't read it!
Because I have a good feeling on what it's about. I feel like it's just like a Hallmark movie on steroids, like all of them, you know? Like, I feel like if there's books and there's like sex in the books, and it's done right and well and not weird, you know, I don't care. But, like, if it's, like, you know that's basically what the whole book is written for, is to make grown middle-aged women feel good about themselves because they're not getting as much as normal, you know. I don't really have much interest in that. Is that too much? That might be too much. I work at a library. I see people. Okay? You know, it's funny.
You see people checking out 50 Shades of Grey.
We have a self-checkout, and I don't check those books out, but, you know, they're getting returned, so they're checking them out in the self-checkout, so, just saying, you know, it's just so super switch. Like, be confident in what you read, you know?
Yeah.
That's why I have Atlas Shrugged.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they go to the self-checkout, and then when they go home, they do a little self-checkout.
Ew, too much. Ew. I don't even want to think about that. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So, but that Atlas Shrugged is the best book that she's known for. Mm-hmm. She's really known for her philosophy and her contributions. She's like the farthest right conservatism that you can get. Really, is Ayn Rand.
Yeah, and I don't want to limit myself to only read books based on stuff that I believe, because I don't want to be closed off. You know.
Yeah. I
like reading books about other people's beliefs and everything.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I like reading basically just about everything but erotica.
Ayn Rand, she's also known for a book called The Fountainhead.
Yeah, that was the first one I heard of.
Yeah, that one's usually assigned in high school.
Yeah, there was a class, I didn't take that class, but one of my friends did that read that, and they hated it. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of times where, like, you read books in high school and you hate them, and, like, there's some books now that, like, I read in high school and I've read now, and I'm like, why did I totally not read this at all? I should have read this. This is good, you know? And I totally just, like, blew it off and thought it was boring or lame and just listened to my friends. But, like, there's some books that are, like, really good. And I feel like reading books in high school sometimes hinders people's views of the book. Like, I feel like, for example, there was a class in my high school that read Frankenstein. And, like, I've never read it. And I really want to. But, like, if I had been in that class that had to read it, I don't think I would have wanted to, you know, because it's assigned to you. You don't want to read something that you're made to read, and you have to think about, like, you just want to think about it on your own, you know? Come to your own conclusions.
Yeah. I was in that class that was assigned to read Frankenstein, and I hated it.
Exactly. See, I think I would really like it.
Yeah.
You know, I really actually want to read it soon.
Yeah, I didn't understand it. Like, I think I was a freshman when I read it.
I feel like sometimes they do push books that, like, high schoolers are just not, like, worldly aware enough to understand what's going on. I mean, like, that's a part of the class, is learning how to be more understanding of stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
But, like, I feel like sometimes some of these classics, I almost don't even want to risk, like, making it a school assignment at the point that people might just end up deciding that they hate it because they had to read it when they were, like, 15 years old, and maybe when they were, like, 20 and, you know, in college and going through stuff that the author was actually going through, then they would actually be like, oh my gosh, this is totally what I needed, you know?
Yeah. That's an interesting thing about school, is when you're forced to read a book, you're most of the time, even if you're a literophile, bookophile? I don't know. Bibliophile.
Oh my gosh, I was like, what are you saying? Pedophile?
If you're a bibliophile, even then, like, I like to read, you like to read, but the high school literature classes, it just turns you off to certain books.
I feel sometimes teachers do it justice, but there's some times where it's like, you just got so much going on when you're in high school that, like, you don't have time to think about that very philosophical book that you're reading in class as much as, like, your teacher would like you to be thinking about it. They're like, you're thinking about, does Johnny like me?
and even if you would like to like it, like, on my own, I read some Shakespeare. Shakespeare's amazing.
Yeah.
I love Shakespeare. He's a brilliant storyteller.
So many people tell me they don't like him because they were, like, forced to read Romeo and
Juliet
or Julius Caesar.
Exactly, and it's such a bummer.
Yeah.
Because Shakespeare is the best fiction writer, I think, ever.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. Do you think he's, like, real? Do you think there's multiple people? Conspiracy. Ooh.
Wait, is that an actual conspiracy?
Yeah, some people think that Shakespeare either never existed, was gay, or was multiple people, writing under the name William Shakespeare.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Isn't that? I mean, I feel like after a while, once it's so old, people, and there's not clear information, people just start to think about it more. Like, I'm sure there's a philosophical writer, and people are like, yep, he was white, and he was married, and that was it. You know, like, they don't even think about him because he wrote one good play, you know?
Yeah. But I feel like that's just I feel like that's a millennial thing. Like, I feel like there wasn't that much conspiracy theorying before our generation.
I don't know.
And now there's a bunch of it.
I feel like there was, but it was more intense. Now it's like everything's a conspiracy or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, they just found out that there was another painting under the Mona Lisa. I'm like, who's got the time to look underneath an existing historical painting? It's like they don't do that for every single painting that comes through, you know? They just did it because it's super famous, and the painting underneath is still of a woman. Like, he probably had a commission and they didn't pick it up, so he just reused the canvas or the wood board it's on, you know? I think it's on wood. It's a wood panel.
Interesting.
But, like, you know, it's like, if it wasn't as big as it was, people wouldn't have looked into it, thought about it more.
Yeah.
You know?
It's weird. And then there's a ton of people now. You know, there's still a ton of people that believe the moon landing was faked.
Yeah.
Like, that's so weird to me.
I know. It's weird to me, too. I mean, like, I understand where they're coming from, because, again, like, I don't want to, like, close everything off from what I believe and everything, but, like, at the same time, I just, like, it's weird that people don't believe the things you believe in. You know, like that kind of thing. Like,
but
something
it's
that
the
seems
moon landing.
Yeah, something that's so real, you know.
Do you know how many people would have had to been in on that?
Yeah.
Like, conspiracies don't do well if there's a bunch of people that have to be in on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Like, because it only takes one person to out the whole thing, and there were thousands of people involved in the moon landing.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it was big and it got a lot of attention, so people started thinking about more and like, what if it wasn't real? What if it was different? You know?
Yeah.
Like with Shakespeare and Mona Lisa, you know?
Yeah.
That's a whole other different topic. You know what we should talk about? The house.
I think we've beaten that topic to death a little bit.
No, I want to talk about it more. I want this place. No, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I just like, I don't know. I could talk about books and art all day.
You know, we got a few more minutes. We got like 8 more minutes.
What do you want to do?
Until an hour. What do you talk about? Something else? What do you want to do with this podcast? What do you think? Did you enjoy doing a podcast?
I did enjoy doing this, and I gotta pee. It's been an hour. I just drank some water, but no, I had a lot of fun. This is fun.
Yeah.
I mean, this is pretty much how our normal conversations go anyway, so
Yeah.
I feel like we don't have to feel like we have to explain everything to each other because we already know who Lucas is and where we live. You know.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun that we can record the conversations though, because we have some really in-depth conversations.
It's almost like a journal entry that we both write in about like our day and like the time frame going on, you know, and our current thoughts.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoy this. I feel like it's not that hard either to just have a conversation with somebody while you're on a podcast, especially if that somebody's your wife.
By the way, if you hear rumbling, like I said, we live in a small apartment and we live really close to the road, and those are totally just trucks and cars going by.
Yeah.
We're used to it because we've lived here, but some people are like, oh my gosh, what is that? Because it kind of shakes the whole apartment.
Yes. We live on San Andreas Fault.
No, we don't. Oh my goodness. But yeah, it's if you hear rumbling in the background, that's what it is. But yeah, I forget what we were talking about.
We're just talking about the podcast. What else do you want to do? What else do you want to do with the podcast?
I don't know. I feel like we should maybe have some segments or like I don't know.
Yeah.
Just talk
just
about
freewheel it like Joe Rogan.
We could talk about our day. What'd you do today? Since we just got home. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. We should probably start off just talking about our day.
Like, how'd your day been? Because, like, I haven't seen you since this morning, you know, when we woke up and left for work and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, how was your day? What'd you do today? Well, you kind of already told me a little bit.
Yeah, I went to work today, and I work as a proofreader at a textbook company. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't do any proofreading today, but I checked to make sure that the material for our newest module of our curriculum was where it should be.
This is getting kind of boring.
I know. And
not the podcast, just you talking about your work. Sorry. I'm a proofreader, so just getting our next textbook ready.
yeah. Hopefully I'll have more interesting jobs.
You kind of already had 2 jobs.
Yeah.
Part-time. You got one that's like a temporary part-time job, and then your real job.
It's not like your job's any more interesting than mine.
My job is so interesting. I work at a library. Yeah, I just work at a library. You guys already know that. I already said that. But I don't know. I feel like my job can be interesting. It just depends. I work at a public library, so we see some interesting people. If you've worked at a public library before, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Anything interesting happened today?
At the library? I'm trying to think. Sometimes things happen, but usually evenings are pretty slow. I'm trying to think. Oh, we did have a program where it's like exam season, so we had a program for people who were studying and doing exams to take a break. And guess what? They got to come and pet therapy dogs. So fascinating. Mine's not as boring as modules, okay? Yeah, it was fine. It was good. I feel like it depends on what happened earlier that day, and today was pretty easygoing so far. Like, sometimes we have homeless people problems, but it was pretty chill. Like, they're usually pretty chill, but sometimes we have problems.
Yeah.
But yeah, not much happened.
Yeah. I mean, they're probably going to impeach the president tomorrow.
Is that tomorrow?
Yeah, so they're actually going to hold the vote tomorrow. They set the rules for the debate. So they're going to have, debate on the House floor, and then they're going to vote on it tomorrow, probably. I don't know if they're going to move it around at all. But, yeah, I think they finished setting the rules today. I was catching it while in between breaks at work.
Okay, how many breaks do you get?
None. I just walked to the water cooler and refill my water bottle.
It's a water break.
Yeah, it's a water break, but I don't have set water break times. I just
get up and get water.
Yeah, sometimes if I'm just sick of what I'm doing and I need a break, I will chug my water bottle to go get more water.
And then run out of the door and run into the street and yell,
but yeah, so they had CNN on at work, and so they were showing some of the debate over what the rules are going to be of the impeachment, but we all know it was going to happen, so...
I don't know. I don't follow politics. You just let me know what's going on.
Yeah.
You are my news station.
That's true.
But anyway,
you know when
I also do work at library, so I hear news from there all the time too.
You know when the last time a president was impeached?
Wasn't it Clinton?
Yeah, we were babies because we were born in 1997.
Yeah.
I think that was the same year. He was either impeached in 97 or 98.
Man, he's that old.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh yeah, Bill Clinton's old. He had a quadruple bypass because he had a heart attack, and now
he had that when he was a president.
No, he didn't have the heart attack while he was president. He ate crap when he was president.
I was going to say, doesn't he like burgers or something?
Well, yeah, now he's vegan because of the heart attack.
I bet,
It was because he ate so much crap.
You know who else eats a lot of crap?
Yeah.
You know whose favorite food is burgers? You, sir.
That's true. And I will own it.
No, you won't.
I have a wife I need to care about now.
Thank you.
Don't.
Unlike Bill Clinton. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
We can't post the podcast now because Hillary Clinton's going to come kill Jesse.
Shush, don't even joke about that. That could be real. Oh my gosh. Don't even joke about that. Oh my gosh. No.
Yeah.
It was just a joke, Hillary. It was just a joke. Calm down. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
What else did you
we're
do
gonna get
today?
taken down. Our first podcast. We're gonna get taken down.
We're gonna be fun. It's all in good fun, okay? It's all in good fun. But anyway,
I went and got your Christmas present today.
You did. That's right. You did say that. What did you get me?
I got you. Wait, I see what you're doing. I don't think so. You almost got me.
No, I didn't. You're messing. But yeah, what did I do? Oh yeah, I went and did laundry at my parents' house because we don't have a washer and dryer here.
Yeah. So I think we're just about out of time. So why don't we talk about one cool thing that we'd like to recommend to our viewers or listeners? It could be anything, something cool that you would recommend. It could be an app, could be a book, could be a movie, could be another podcast.
Interesting. Well, I don't listen to that many podcasts to recommend podcasts to everyone.
Could be a cooking utensil.
You know what I recommend?
Channel. What?
I got it. Water. It's great. Everyone should drink water. Endorsed by me.
Okay. How about I start?
Okay.
My one cool thing. I know that it's a little old right now, but I love space race stuff. And this year was the 50th anniversary of the Apollo moon landing.
Of the supposed Apollo moon landing.
And so I listened, but they came out with, there's this guy that came out with this 4-part podcast called Apollo 11, What We Saw. And it's like this dramatic podcast where this guy goes through the history of the space race, like all the way from like Sputnik, like the first satellite launched into space, all the way to the moon landing, and briefly covers what came after that with the space shuttles and the space station and the Hubble telescope. And it's a really cool podcast, and you should check it out.
Okay, so we can recommend anything.
Yeah, recommend anything.
Well, I did just recommend water. Can you recommend something else?
Yeah, recommend something else, man.
I don't know. What should I recommend?
I don't know. What have you found interesting recently? Are you reading a book that you really like right now, or?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm not very
TV
far
show
into it.
or anything.
I mean,
do you want to recommend the TV show we were watching last night?
Oh, I feel like that's too on the nose. I guess I will.
Yeah.
It was really good. I recommend that show. You've probably heard of the Disney Plus show, The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I like that show. I like how it feels not like a traditional TV show in a way. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like a cast of characters all stuck at one spot. It's like following basically 2 characters through all of their adventures all around the galaxy. And it's Star Wars, and it's just, it feels like Star Wars, but it feels like, how do I describe it? It's like a Star Wars Westerns, like how a lot of people describe it, but it's more like, I don't know, it's just like a loner's tale in a way, you know?
I love how there's not a lot of talking in it. There's a lot of doing. There's not a lot of talking.
Yeah. I feel like it's just the story of someone who used to always be himself and then having to take care of someone else and understanding that relationships are important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not super specific like that, but it's starting to it's challenging what you would do if you're going to have to help someone. You know what I mean? You really have to change your life a lot when you enter it's like us, you know,
yeah.
We had to change how we do things when we got married because we now have each other to take care of. We didn't have to change things for the worse, but it was for the better to make sure that we're both taken care of, you know?
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it.
Look at that transition.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it.
Well, I didn't just get home now, so.
Memory card full. Dang it. So we were filming the whole time, and now the camera just went out.
That's okay. We got that last good part. We're about to wrap up
anyway.
Yeah,
that's all right. Yeah.
We'll just have a black... If we post the video, we'll have a black screen saying the rest of the stuff we said. We're just basically just saying goodbye.
Yep. All right. I guess this is a good time to wrap it up then.
Okay.
This podcast is brought to you by no one.
Brought to you by our dining room table. That's too tall.
We'll get some sponsors at some point. Maybe we'll do an Audible ad or Squarespace.
I don't know. Maybe if we make our website with Squarespace, we'll use it.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that.
And they'd have to reach out to us first, though.
Yeah. Well,
anyway, we should probably have this.
Yeah, they'll have to give us some money. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.